good scary movie.
Hello. Do you want to play a game?
I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
You know, it's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare, huh?
That the power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you! The power of Christ compels you!
Here's Johnny! I see dead people.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
It's showtime.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Terror Talks. I'm your host, Jeremy, and on today's episode, we are going to be doing our top 5 horror movie soundtracks. That's right. We're going to be talking about the top 5 horror movie soundtracks just made throughout the ages, but I'm not going to be doing it by myself. I've got some guests who are going to help me. First up, I've got my awesome co-host, Brooke.
Hello.
Hello. Thank you so much for joining us. It's so good to have you back on the show.
Yes, I'm happy to be here.
Then we have my brother, Daniel.
Hello, hi. Nice to meet you.
Great
Okay,
to
hey,
have you
Daniel.
back on, Daniel.
Now?
Oh, hey,
Now?
here we go. Hey, hello.
How about now?
Yeah, that's better.
Hey, how's it going? How you doing?
And the other disembodied voice that came out of the blue is my good friend Aidan.
Hello.
All right, so we're going to be talking about our top 5 horror movie soundtracks, and hopefully we all have some varying lists here. I think they're going to be pretty different across the board for each of us. I hope they are, but we're just going to be breaking them down, talking about them, what makes them so good in our humble opinion, and we're going to see what we get from it. So, Brooke, why don't you kick it off with your number 5?
All right. My number 5 is Rosemary's Baby.
I have heard of this one. Funnily enough, my boss at one of my jobs makes a joke about this one all the time. So,
Oh, yeah. So basically, it's like high piano key notes. It's like the best word to describe it is like tingly. And then it's followed by like a la 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 that's like very wistful. And then they're like whispering. And then just knowing that the film's like protagonist is a baby. It's just creepy.
okay, very, very interesting.
Yeah.
I've never seen it. It does sound like a very interesting film. So, it's one I'm definitely going to have to check out. And that's even more interesting that the protagonist of the film is a baby. So, that's interesting. I like that.
Yep.
All right. Daniel, what is your number 5?
My number 5, unlike all of y'all, my number 5 is Jaws.
Oh,
Wow.
okay.
I put mine in the middle. Because this just y'all have already said everything that needs to be said about it pretty much. Oh, Jaws?
Yeah.
What?
No, nothing.
Well, you're mouthing something to me.
We're having a little disagreement in the room right now with each other. But okay, so number 5, Jaws. So why number 5?
I mean, it's just the shark's theme, like throughout the movie, pretty much.
Okay, interesting thoughts. I do agree. Jaws is a very good theme, and yeah, there's a lot of good stuff to be said about that. You hear that constant theme of the shark throughout the film. Anytime you hear it, you know that there's a shark coming. It's fantastic. It's really great. Please forgive my brother, everyone. He's over here cracking up. All right, Aidan, please save us. What is your number 5?
All right, my number 5 is a right and true classic. We have the original 1978 Halloween theme. All right, this is like as iconic
Wait,
gets.
what?
What?
Halloween is number 5?
Yeah,
Number 5?
yeah, because
Wow.
there are other tracks in the movie that I appreciate somewhat. I mean, the don't get me wrong, the Halloween theme slaps. In fact, it's so good. I would even say that the zombies theme from Black Ops 1 is a remix of it damn near because they sound pretty identical, I would argue. Like that's how iconic that theme
Which zombies
is.
theme is that?
And the main menu of Black Ops 1, when you first click on zombies, it ding 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 ding. Pretty much the exact same.
Okay, interesting. All right, interesting. I never considered that before.
It sounds like the
All right.
Halloween theme,
I
just a
mean,
slightly different
all I'll
tempo.
say is huh. Well, I mean, all I'll say is I've got Halloween a little higher on mine, but
I
to
have the
each his
Halloween
own, to each
soundtrack
his own.
like in bits and pieces higher up, but the theme I will put at a solid number 5. Just like it's good, but it's still the main theme to the song. So obviously everyone's gonna know what it is.
Right. Okay, interesting. All right, Daniel, why don't you do your number 4?
My number 4 is Christine.
Ooh,
Ooh.
Christine.
Scary, murderous car.
Yes.
Because every time she goes on her little, killing spree of people, spoilers, she kills a lot of people. It's a car too. It's an inanimate object, but it is a she. Just the theme that plays. It's just really creepy and kind of reminiscent of like a psycho sort of theme, but not really.
All right, that's an
Mhm.
interesting take on it. I haven't It's been a long time since I've seen Christine. So, okay, for anyone who hears Daniel chuckling at that joke, Aiden's mom's name is Christine, so we have to make the joke when we mention this movie's name. So, yeah, but no, I agree. Christine was definitely a great horror movie. Great book too. If you've never read the book, it's a great book.
Yes.
All right, Brooke, what is your number 4?
My number 4 is The Omen.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yes. It always gives me like the chills when I hear it. I think it's just the mix of all the instruments, but yeah, it's very spooky.
I don't think I've ever seen it. I've heard a lot of creepy things about The Omen, but I've never actually seen it before. But it is definitely a creepy one. That somebody was telling me about one of the films because isn't there like 4 or 5 of them?
Maybe, but I've only seen the one, the original one.
I've gotcha. Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
Mhm.
All right, Aiden, what is your number 4?
My number 4 also contains the original 1978 Halloween soundtrack. It's The Shape Lurking. And honestly, the little background tracks that play that John Carpenter created, like whenever Michael comes in, he's doing his little magic on the town and whatnot, going in, cleaning house. Like the music is always just so great because it has the feeling of like the second it plays, you feel like you're instantly just alone by yourself, but at the same time, you're not truly alone because, the shape is stalking around, he's always there. You might not always see him,
Right.
but he's
Mhm.
just always there. It's an ever looming presence all the time. And the soundtrack does a really great job at capturing that, especially when, even for the remakes. I got a track in here for the remake that I'll get into.
Okay, interesting. I don't think I had the remake on here. And it just dawned on me. I just looked at Daniel. I didn't give my number 5.
Let's
Hmm.
backtrack.
So, yeah, we're going to backtrack a little bit. I'm going to give you my number 5 and y'all going to have to help keep me straight. Apparently I've lost track of where we are. So my number 5, and this is Daniel, you're going to want to hear this one. My number 5 is House of a Thousand Corpses.
Mhm.
I saw this movie for the first time last Halloween, actually. Never seen it before. Knew it was a gruesome, gruesome film, but it's so dark, it's so creepy. The soundtrack in and of itself just aids to that creep factor immensely well. Like, it's very heavy grunge, which isn't something I would typically enjoy, but it helps with that film a lot.
Not really grunge.
Not a grunge, but definitely a harder rock kind of sound.
More like metal.
Yeah,
Okay, more like metal.
It's
If
Rob
it's a
Zombie,
Rob,
dude.
yeah, it is more akin to metal.
But it's still really good. It's real creepy. And what's interesting about it is that soundtrack doesn't just have stuff by him in it. There's like little
Mhm.
bits and pieces from other artists and musicians that pop up in there. I can't remember them all exactly, but there's a couple of songs in there that are not Rob Zombie arranged songs. They are different ones from other artists. And so that's what's really neat is the diversity of that soundtrack. So House of a Thousand Corpses is my number 5. It's not my absolute favorite, but it's definitely a good one.
Mm.
All right, so I guess I'll give my number 4 now to sort of get us back on track. Did everybody else give their number 5s?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Just making sure. Who all gave Aiden, you gave your number 4. Dana, did you give your 4 yet?
Yes. Mine was Christine.
Brooke, did you give your 4?
Yep.
Okay, so I'll give my 4 and then we'll be back on track. My number 4 is Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Ooh.
Now this one is sort of a B-list film. It's a B-list sort of horror film. You know, it's one that not many people talk about, but in my opinion, it's more or less a cult classic. And
Mhm.
it has some great moments musically. Um, there's lots of great.
Oh,
What is happening here?
I was in a church
There's
for a second.
it's almost sort of like do what?
I said I was in a church for a second.
Just making sure you're paying attention. Um, it has moments of like almost sort of like Daniel said, not campfire. I guess wouldn't be the right way to put it, but it's very like kooky, very bouncy, campy, sort of campy.
Yeah, campy. That's what I said.
Yeah, because like sometimes you've got the funny little clown moments, but then you've got this almost dark rock and roll kind of thing, and then don't even get me started on the main theme, the down, like that is such an iconic theme that was written. And not only was it a theme, it's a theme song. I mean, there's actual words and lyrics to that song, so it was done very, very well. It's one of my absolute favorites. It's not number 1, but it was done very nice. It's got that awesome almost sort of 80s hair synth in it with the hair guitar kind, not hair guitar I guess, but it's like sort of on the bridge of getting close to it. but it's really nice. So Killer Clowns from Outer Space for me for number 4. I was wondering if Daniel would have this on his list, but
I do. I do.
oh, he does have it on his. Okay, all
Oh
right.
wow.
So, Brooke, why don't you give us your number 3?
My number 3 is the Halloween theme.
Okay, nice. Any specific one or just the main one?
Just the main one from the OG Halloween. Um, as soon as it plays, you know exactly what it is. Um, again, it's a lot like Psycho in that way, where like people hear it and they know what it is, even if they haven't seen the movie.
Yes, absolutely.
Mhm.
I've got Halloween on my list. I won't say where it is, but we're reaching the end here, so
I too also
Right.
have it on my list.
okay, all right. Definitely love Halloween in that that 80 no not 80s because Halloween was in the
70s.
78. So
78,
it
78.
was almost the beginning of the synth sort of era for horror films was Halloween, as well as another one that I'll mention here very shortly. I guess I'll give my number 3 next. My number 3 is Child's Play.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Ugh.
Child's Play is great. Y'all.
No.
Yes.
No.
Wow. Okay. I guess I'm the lone wolf on this one. For me, it's only the first one. After the first one, they were utter garbage in my opinion. But the original Child's Play, that creepy, very childlike theme was just fantastic. It had that sort of not necessarily a synthy quality. I mean, I guess it was somewhat synth, but it just created this feeling of unnervingness. And then all throughout the film, like you never hear the main theme until the very end, which I think is an absolute tragedy that we don't hear it till the very end of the film because it's so iconic, it's so creepy. You've got that addition of the little, I guess it's like a little choir, almost a children's choir,
Mm-hmm.
and that just adds to that whole added creep factor of it being, you know, a child is the killer essentially, or the doll is the killer. It adds to that creep factor of it being a doll. So yeah, Child's Play. I love it. Absolutely love it. All right, Daniel, give us your number 3.
My number 3 is Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
right.
It made the list.
It's because what Aidan?
What?
Did you say something?
All right.
Oh, I thought you said something. Never mind.
No.
Oh, all right. Well, the reason it's there, it's because it's a good soundtrack. It's fun. It's scary, but at the same time, it's just an actual song too. Like it has lyrics to it. Killer clowns from outer space, and it's a good soundtrack. I quite enjoy it.
All right, well there you go. I'm glad that I had a like-minded individual here for that one. I'm surprised it's a little higher on yours than it was on mine. So, all right, Aidan, what is your number 3?
My number 3, which is probably Daniel's number 1, I have Dream Warriors. From the third Nightmare on Elm Street movie. This one actually came into me as a complete
Nice.
surprise, like when I first heard it, because I was sitting there watching Dream Warriors, and then the credits came on, and then this came out of nowhere. Like I was absolutely blown away. I was like, "What? Where did this come from, dude? What?" So then I had to look it up. I was like, "Token did this? Oh
Mhm.
my god, dude, what?" So yeah, it just absolutely blew me away hearing it the first time.
Dokken.
Yeah, sorry. pronunciation, but it absolutely blew me out of the fucking stands, like just straight off, dude. I was absolutely just stunned. All right, it was a really iconic piece.
Yeah, I do agree on that. I think out of all the Nightmare on Elm Streets, the third one is my favorite. I mean, I guess the first one's a favorite too, but I really like that one song by Dokken for the
Mhm.
third one. I mean, it's such an iconic song. Everyone knows it. I mean,
Not
you never
everyone
forget.
knows it.
Well, if you know Nightmare on Elm Street, more than likely you know Dream Warriors. So,
Yes.
in my opinion, I think everyone knows it. All right, is that everybody do their number three?
Mhm.
All right, who would like to go first for number two?
I will.
All right, Brooke, take it away.
So, my number 2 is Amityville Horror.
Ooh,
Okay,
okay.
okay,
That's a good
okay.
one.
Yes. The soundtrack, like the theme, was supposed to be made by the guy who wrote the theme for The Exorcist. After they hated his original theme for The Exorcist, said he was like taking a break from writing horror movie soundtracks. But you can definitely see like the inspiration or hear the inspiration when you watch Amityville.
Okay, interesting. I'll have to go back. This is the original one, right?
Yes, we don't have to talk about the remake. This is the original.
Okay. We don't discuss that remake of that film. I
I'm
think
sure
I
we
saw it
will one
once.
day, but
Maybe one day. I think I saw it once, but I think I definitely am more akin to the original.
yes, same.
All right. Uh Daniel, give us your number two.
All right, my number two is Halloween.
Okay.
It made everyone's list, I think.
Mhm.
Not
Yes, it
mine
did.
yet.
Yet.
Gee, I wonder where it is on yours.
Who knows?
Well, no, because you know the dana da dana da dana dana, yeah, just that in general is just amazing in every like iteration of the movie except for I think 3 it's not in. I think that's the only one that it's not in.
Technically, the third one is in there. It
Mhm.
technically is in the third one.
Where?
If you think about it, it's towards the end when the guy is strapped in the chair and he's forced to watch the movie. So, on a technicality, it is in there.
Huh.
But I see where you're coming from, Daniel. Definitely, Halloween did make my list, but yeah, I think we all know where it's gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Aidan, what is your number two?
My number 2 is another track featured in the OG Halloween. It's the one where the shape stalks
Ooh.
Lori. It's pretty much like towards the end almost when, when she's getting chased and whatnot, and she's like, "Tommy, open up the door," and whatnot. She's trying to get back into the house where she's babysitting the kids. That
Mhm.
that's that's a really, really great track. And if I were to ever feel the sense of urgency, I would honestly feel it if that track was going up. If I was hanging out like here at home in Thompson, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, I hear that come on, I'm getting my ass out the house. I'm leaving.
Mhm.
I think I know what I'm doing this evening. Come over there and just play it right outside your window while
You're
you're
gonna
sleeping.
you're gonna wake your mom up. You're gonna get shot by your mom.
That's it. That's it. Everyone's gonna freak out because I'll be playing that theme. Now, this one? Is this the the really slow one, or is it the fast one?
I can include an audio clip after this recording if you wish, so I can like give a little bit of context because um I do feel
Okay.
like we probably should have done like 7 seconds of audio so we could all like debate on it together.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, I mean, I'll include the audio in post so
Okay,
the
okay.
viewers can hear it. hopefully I don't get hit too hard with the copyright police on that one.
If it's a small clip and you're talking about it, it's fine.
Yeah, it falls under like fair use if it's like under 30 seconds and it's for educational purposes.
All right, fair enough. Then I guess I can get away with it
Yep.
when I put it that way. All right. So my number 2 is one I've actually never seen the film, but I've heard the soundtrack. The Fog. This one is it's another John Carpenter. The score is just really, really eerie. It's very suspenseful. You know that something is about to go down. Of course, I've never seen the film, so I don't know what exactly is coming for them in this film. I guess it's the fog. I don't really know. I've never seen it, but just the synth work that he does in there of building tension and suspense throughout, it's done very, very well. And it's such an iconic theme that I think gets sort of lost in translation. Many people don't ever think to even consider that one. So yeah, I mean, I love it. It's John Carpenter. I mean, how can you not love it? He
Yeah.
does fantastic work on everything he has done. So I mean, that's all that can be said. John Carpenter, The Fog. What more could you ask for, right? All right, I'm going to turn it over to everyone to see if they've got any honorable mentions. So let's start with you, Aidan. Any honorable mentions?
Honestly, I was a little picky when creating my when like my top 10 little track list. I didn't really comb through every single piece of like horror audio for like soundtracks. So there probably are a couple out there that I would particularly enjoy, but as of right now though, I don't have any that come up on my list. It's like, oh, I wish I put this in or something like that.
All right, interesting. Daniel, any honorable mentions from you?
I've got 2 honorable mentions.
Okay.
The Evil Dead and Hellraiser.
Love it.
Okay, 2 that I've never seen, and I've already gotten backlash for the fact I haven't seen Evil Dead before, so I've got homework to do. So I've got to see Evil Dead. And I've got to see Hellraiser too, but Daniel doesn't exactly sell that one very hard
I
to
don't
me.
I don't sell it that hard because what I like to call it is BDSM the movie.
That makes sense.
There you go.
That's pretty much what it is. But hey, Motorhead wrote a song for it, so that's cool.
Fair enough.
I didn't even know that.
All right. I didn't either. All right, Brooke, any honorable mentions from you?
Yes, I have 3. So the first one is Halloween 3 Season of the Witch.
Oh, yes.
It has a good soundtrack. And number 2 is Beetlejuice. It didn't make my list because I was like, is this really horror? But it is classified as horror, but we're going to leave it for honorable mention. And then my third one isn't a movie, but it deserves to be thrown in here is The Twilight Zone.
had thought about that, and I was like, oh, it's not a movie. Can I include it? And it's like, no, I guess I can't, just because it's not a movie, so it couldn't make the top 10.
Yep.
But definitely, I love that. But I mean, there's more than
Mhm.
that. But
Yeah.
still, yeah, all good ones. I agree with Halloween 3 that John Carpenter does it again with another iconic sound.
Yes.
I love that, like there's this repetitive dun, 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 like throughout that
Mhm.
just builds the tension, and it does it so very well. And actually, one of my other honorable mentions is Beetlejuice, like you
Mm.
said.
Mhm.
I wasn't sure to classify that as horror or not, and so I was like, well, I got to include it though, just because. Oh, what's his name? The composer. Daniel. What is the composer's name who did Beetlejuice?
Oh, I
It's
don't know.
it's the guy from Oingo Boingo.
Danny Elfman.
That's who it is. Danny
Are you
Elfman.
sure he did
Oh,
the
I
soundtrack?
I think
he
Danny Elfman did
does.
Beetlejuice. Yeah, and all of
Yeah.
his stuff is very kooky, very weird sounding, but it's done
He,
so remarkably well. And so that's definitely an honorable mention. And another honorable mention for me is Gremlins, because I wasn't sure if I would include that as horror or not. But I love that just creepy sort of sound you get from it. The dun 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 dun. It's done very well. So those are my honorable mentions. They're done very well. It's like you have to decide, are these worthy of a place on the list? So you gotta play a little bit. You gotta play devil's advocate, sort of. All right, so that brings us to all of our number ones. So let's start with Daniel. What's your number one?
My number one is, of course, Aidan guessed it, Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors.
Okay, so I think we saw this coming. I know I saw this coming from a while ago, so I knew this would find its way to the list.
Anyone who knows me knows that I just love Dokken because it's, 80s rock. And, it's a great, song, Dream Warriors. We're the Dream Warriors. That, and of course, the hit by the famous Jump Rope Girls, 1-2, Freddy's Coming for You.
I love the way that he advertised that. That was genius. I'd say we need to get in touch with the people, New Line Cinema, and tell them that should be how they advertise that song now. All right, so Dream Warriors, Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is Daniel's number one. Brooke, what is your number one?
So I think I'm gonna get a lot of backlash for this. I'm pretty sure when we recorded our episode about Scream, you told me you all hate this movie. But that's okay. I'm gonna say it anyway. So my number one is The Nun.
Oh, The Nun.
Hmm.
I don't know if I've ever heard the soundtrack to it.
Oh, look,
I mean, I guess I had to if I saw the movie once. So
yeah. It's cool. It mixes a lot of it's like your basic horror sounds, but then they add in the religious element. I guess it's a lot like The Omen in that way, but they mix in the name of the demon Valor and in the background of the music. Like you can hear people chanting its name in the background.
oh, that's kind of cool. That's
Yes.
really neat. neat element to that. Okay, I'll have to go back and
Hmm.
listen for that. That sounds really interesting.
Yep.
All right, so The Nun is number one for Brooke. All right,
Mhm.
Aiden, what is your number one?
My number one is me trying to unlock my phone. There we go. So my number one is the Halloween 2018 soundtrack, where the shape hunts Allison is the very first time we hear this chase track play. And I gotta say, like seeing it in theaters, like I know people say like things are an instant classic, but this like was instant goosebumps when I heard it. You had the little synth coming in, the and then that instant just rise in audio that just jarring just it just came in like just oh it was so good. It was such a good chase track. It complemented the scene exceptionally well. And like for the Halloween reboots, I mean, come on. It just it outdoes itself. It really does soundtrack wise. I appreciate the remakes a lot because it does capitalize on the classic nostalgic feel of classic horror, but it gives it a new twist and it just sounds amazing.
All right, so Halloween 2018 is Aiden's, and so that is actually a perfect segue to my number one. My number one is, of course, John Carpenter's 1978 Halloween. This was, like I said, one of the icons of the classic horror themes that we would eventually get with new horror films and such. You know, he brought in that 80s synth, that sort of element, and just absolutely changed the haunt scene because of that. It was done very tastefully. It definitely creates that sense of urgency with the main theme, this sense of anticipation and almost creep out with the more minor themes heard throughout the film, you know, like the dun, 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 you know, the real slow version of it.
Mhm.
It was done very, very well. And it's one that has stuck with me forever. You know, if I hear the words horror film, you know, Halloween is the first one that comes to mind. And in terms of music, that's always like the first theme. If you look up horror movie themes, you know, the Halloween theme is going to be one of the first ones that pops up in your suggested. So it's done amazingly well, done beautifully well. So that is my number one. All right. Well, that is going to do it for us today here on the Terror Talks, episode 6. We broke down our top 5 horror movie soundtracks. We might have to get together again sometime in the future and, you know, maybe do the back 5, and that way we can create an entire top 10 list, you know. Maybe we can get down and do that sometime. That could be fun.
Hmm. Oh yeah, for sure.
But if you guys liked what you heard, be sure to rate, comment, subscribe at home. Be sure to let us know if you agree with our list or if you disagree. You know, let us know in the comments, or you can email us at theterratalks@gmail.com. My guests today have been Brooke.
Hello or goodbye. Oh my goodness.
Brooke, where can the listeners find you if they want to hear more content?
Oh, if they want to, now that I said hello at the end of the podcast. Okay. um, so you can find me on Twitter and Instagram, and my username is at Somnifey. So it's SOMNIFEY.
All right, awesome. And correct me if I'm wrong. You have your other podcast. Has that come back yet? Is it restarted yet?
It has not restarted yet.
Ah, well,
Yeah.
keep us posted. You know, we will definitely be telling people about that. We do run a little bit of an advertisement telling people to check it out. So be sure to
Okay.
go check it out if you get a second. It is called the
Mhm.
New Age Philosophers Podcast. Definitely want to
Yes.
check that out. All right. My other guest has been Aidan.
Hey, if you want to hear more of me just ranting and whatnot, I do stream over at Twitch. I don't do like podcast related content, but I pretty much talk about almost anything on there if I'm like playing a game and whatnot. But yeah, if you want to hear me complain or just give my opinion on things, yeah, head over that way. twitch.tv/MasterBoneDog.
All right, awesome. And then my other co-host has been Daniel.
There's one more actually. Number one for me, it's from my dad. He says the top horror movie soundtrack is "She's the One" because love is nothing but a horror movie.
Uh-huh.
And Tom Petty wrote it.
Oh,
Oh my god, of course Tom
wow,
Petty
that
wrote
was
it.
an interesting. Oh Lord, we will not get into that. Well, Daniel, thank you for being on the show. You don't have anywhere that listeners can listen to you, do they?
Nope.
He is the Lone Ranger. He doesn't do anything. And my name has been Jeremy. But thank y'all guys so much for joining us here on Season 2, Episode 6 of the Terror Talks. Be sure to check us out on all of our social media. Subscribe to us. Follow us wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to check out our friends all over. We've got so many. All of them are listed down in the description below. But until next time, be safe out there. Don't text and drive. And be excellent to each other. We'll see you in the fog.